Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 6 of the Postman Podcast. It's me, Zach, and Mikey. How y'all doing?
Good.
Hanging in there.
I am also trying to hang in there because, dog, I'm just going to open up with this because it's been painful. March Madness has been... Let me ask you two this. I'm not the most well-versed. I've obviously gotten a little bit better with college basketball since I've been at college, but... Let's be real. Do you think this is one of the worst years of March Madness in this millennium?
I would say it's worse, but definitely one of the most predictable.
Yeah, it's not madness at all.
Yeah,
but
not much madness.
It's been boring. It's been so boring because, for reference, for the final scores of the Elite Eight, if you like chalk, and eating more chalk, then yeah, this was the year for you. As all 4 1 seeds are now in the Final Four of Florida, Duke, Houston, and Auburn, and only half of the Elite Eight games were even worth watching.
Can you tell me the last time that all 4 1 seeds made the Final Four?
I can't right off the gate, but give me a second.
No, I know the answer. I'm asking you.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Oh, my bad. I'm going to say like 97.
I'm going to say 89.
It's actually only happened. This is the second time it's ever happened.
Figures.
First one was 2008.
Wow.
It was 2008?
Yeah, Kansas won. I think that was Bill Self, maybe.
Oh, I remember because it was either the year after the year before.
Won the chalk game. That was kind of funny.
I was trying to remember, either the year after the year before, they got upset. Kansas was a 1 seed, and they got upset by Arkansas, I think, who was an 8 seed, or Indiana or something like that.
I was going to say, it better not be Arkansas again.
It might have been, actually.
Yeah, but, okay, so, yes, it was predictable, and it wasn't quite madness, but it's not like the regular season was any different. It was very, very clearly the best of the best, and then a tier below is everybody else. It felt like college football to me. It felt like there were a couple teams that were in a class of their own. There was a couple 2 seeds that could probably hang in there. But for the most part, we knew who the 1 seeds were going to be a month out, which never happens. All 4 1 seeds were locked in.
Yeah.
I am surprised a bit with... the main one for me is mainly Auburn, because I thought that was going to be a tough side to have to play through. And I really thought Michigan State was going to take it with how they were playing. But, yeah, the 3-point shooting just absolutely failed them when they needed it. And that's just a shame. But what I am disappointed about the Bama-Duke game, I thought that was going to be one of the best games of the entire tournament. I really did. And that game was garbage, straight garbage.
Well, people were talking about it being the best college basketball game of all time. And I'm like, first of all, that's a crazy thing to say to start. But
I thought it was going to be one of the best. I thought it was going to be a top 5 game of the tournament.
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought it was going to be top 3 in the tournament.
Oh, it was horrible. It might be a bottom 5 game. That might be up there with a 215 or 116 game. It was horrible to watch.
Yeah.
Bama got
Tennessee
embarrassed.
game was bad.
The Tennessee one was just ugly.
Fun fact, Tennessee set the record for least amount of points in the first half of an Elite Eight game.
What, breaking Clemson's record?
All time for the Elite Eight. They scored 15.
Oh, the Elite Eight. 15 for 52. Jesus.
15 minutes in the whole first half.
Wow.
That's horrific. I'm looking at Tennessee just for a minute, but some of the shooting, my goodness, Lanier, he may have put up 17 points, but do you know what he shot? He had 7 free throws, by the way, and made all of them. He went 4 for 18 and 2 for 12 at the 3-point line.
Wow.
That is what we call Brick City. Add Ziegler to the mix, and he went 1 for 9 and 1 for 6 at the 3-point line. Those two went a combined 5 for 27. That's horrific.
All I gotta say, Broom for Auburn. Oh my
nasty.
goodness,
He's disgusting.
He
might be a lot of it.
He's him. He's him. Did you see what happened? Did you watch the game?
I watched bits of it.
So he got hurt. 10 minutes left. So he had 25 points. He had a double in the first half. Then he came out, and second half it was still a close game against Michigan State. So they were playing him a lot. He came down hard on a rebound, twisted his ankle with about 10 minutes left in the second half, and you couldn't hear him, but you read his lips on the way out. He was headed straight to the locker room, and he looked at his coach. He said, "I'm done." And everybody's looking around. Is like, first of all, that's one of the best. He's Player of the Year candidate. It's him and Cooper Flagg are the two.
Yeah.
And maybe like JT Toppin. I don't know who the third one's going to be, but it's definitely those two, neck and neck for it.
Oh
but
yeah.
He went out. 10 minutes left, and everybody's kind of sitting there is like, are we ever going to see him again? Like, he's going to go into the draft, but like, because he's a senior, so that could have been it. And we're like, did he just break an ankle or something? 5:50 left in the game, and meanwhile Auburn kicked the snot out of Michigan State in the last 10 minutes of the game. Like, it wasn't close. It was close, and then they pulled away. But then all of a sudden, they're in the middle of the announcers are in the middle of a story, and they come out and they switch the camera suddenly, and it's Broom walking out of the field, or walking out with, hopping and jumping out of the tunnel. And then he instantly comes back in the game and then nails a 3-point shot to go to like 25 points for the game. Then he finishes the rest of the game out.
Which is wild, because he only took 2 threes and proceeded to make both of them, and one of them was that one, which is crazy. Which, by the way, 25 and 14, man, just casually put up a double-double while hurt. Which is insane to think.
He had a double-double in the first half.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, before he even got hurt.
Dude's just... That dude... Broom is nasty. He's going to be a lottery pick.
Well, I know I doubted Auburn
Flagg.
before. Like, in the SEC tournament for last week of the season, they look bad. They look great.
I agreed with you there.
They look great right now.
I mean, they've played probably the tightest basketball of the 4 schools that are in the...
Florida, every game has been a nail-biter.
Actually, no, Florida's been...
I forget the guy's name, but he's... Whoever their guy is, he's got ice in his veins. Like,
Walter Clayton.
Yeah, he's
nasty.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do?
And then they had a guy off the bench casually have a double-double with 20 points and 11 boards.
He just shoves.
I mean, I guess you could say that, because really the only game that Florida had that was stressful outside of Texas Tech was the UConn game, which was crazy. I will give him that one. But the other two was Norfolk State, which they just shoved, and then Maryland, who just died in the second half. So, but I guess this year's kind of proven that, like, the best 4 teams really were the best 4 teams in college basketball this year.
Yep.
Which... I get it. Maybe that means the Final 4 games will be good. It's just this year's been so freaking disappointing, because I think the biggest thing is because every team that had a chance for an upset that wasn't like a favorite. I mean, think about the ones that did happen. It was pretty much all teams that were favorited, which was, I mean, McNeese was just favorited out of like just social media, and Clemson played the worst half of basketball in a long, long time.
He would like a word.
At least Houston was a 1 seed and one of the best teams in college basketball. What's Clemson's excuse? They played McNeese. But you had that game. You had Drake, who pretty much everybody thought was going to beat Missouri. You had Colorado State, who, outside of me and probably some other people, Memphis will forever haunt my life. Never will I touch Memphis again. Apparently, I've seen it. They've had like 5 or 4 straight first-round exits. Didn't know that before that. I should have realized. My fault. But Colorado State was actually the team. They were favorited, or they were only like underdogs by like a point and a half. Like, and then New Mexico and Arkansas. And if those are the 2 really the best upsets you got, it's like it kind of states for how this year went, unfortunately. And again, you credit to all the better. I mean, the better teams played like the better teams. And maybe it's probably because I've been spoiled. I've seen things like St. Peter's go on that crazy run. We saw FAU make the Final Four 2 years ago. and was literally one shot away from a 9 seed being in the finals.
That was a fun time. That was a fun team.
Dude, that game against San Diego State might be top 3 favorite games I've ever watched in college basketball. It was so good. You had last year where NC State made the Final Four, Duquesne beat a Power 5 program, and Oakland beat Kentucky. I guess that's kind of just the way I look at it. I feel like maybe we as college basketball fans, I throw myself easily into this mix, have been spoiled with a lot of really fun and unpredictable basketball. I kind of want to see your thoughts on that, maybe.
Sorry, you got me mid-bite.
No, you're good. I forgot.
You asked a question as soon as I took it.
I asked literally the worst possible time.
But, I mean, I like the madness, but I also like good basketball. And
that is true.
The top 4 teams in the country are the top 4 teams in the country because they're awesome. All of them are great.
Oh, yeah.
And they just kick butt.
Personally,
and they're steamrolling people. And, there was no doubt. In most of these games, there's absolutely no doubt that they're just going to come in and beat the snot out of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got Florida, who's probably the best offense in the entire country. You got Duke, who's probably the most complete team in the country. You have
Houston's got an outrageous defense.
Their defense has been insane all tournament. They put
SIUE
in a box.
They've lost 1 game since Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Excuse me?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Who was that loss? I'm curious, by the way.
I just like to see domination. I think that's always fun to watch. If we're going to make a comparison, look at the Dodgers this past year for MLB season. It was just complete.
See, I wouldn't call it domination, though. It was a down year last year. Maybe this year.
It may be. I don't know.
But
I would say, if you're going to make that comparison, I know they didn't win the World Series, but the year they won 115 or 114 games, that kind of year.
111.
Was it 111?
Mm-hmm.
I thought they won 115 or something like that.
Nah.
It wasn't? Okay.
It was over 110. Not that high.
Okay. But it was it's that kind of year is the way I look at it. But, damn, that's insane. But yeah, Houston, they've actually, when was Thanksgiving? I forgot. I'm bad with days. 28th? That looks right. So they've only had, that's wild. They've had 2 losses, and it was to San Diego State, who, while I do think was a terrible pick for March Madness, did make March Madness technically, and Texas Tech, who was in the Elite 8. That's it. That's crazy. And like I said, their defense has been nasty. SIUE kept them to 40. Gonzaga was their highest scoring game, by the way, at 76. That game was easily I would say that was probably the toughest game Houston faced. And that was, I said, I thought whoever won that game was probably going to win that was going to win that side of the bracket. I still stand by that, but it just happened that Houston did enough to win it, and I picked wrong because I'm stupid.
I told you, Houston, don't sleep on them. I told you they were going to be good.
Well, I did say, I was just on the fence. I just kind of flipped a coin on that one because I wasn't sure. But Purdue put them in a box, 60 points, and then we all saw what they did to Tennessee. It was ugly to watch. But, yeah, I don't know. My bracket's in shambles, so I kind of joked with you two before we started recording. I just straight up, I have barely watched any March Madness since the second round.
That's what happens when you choose St. John's to win the tournament.
Dude, don't remind me.
That was terrible.
Don't remind me.
That was a pick.
RJ Lewis sold my life away. It sucked. Dude was the Big East Player of the Year and then proceeded to sell at the worst possible time.
Yeah, it's his fault they missed 25 layups.
Dude, he went 3 for 18. 3 for 18 is horrific.
Yeah, we'll see if any of these teams turn historic.
If you're gonna see it, it's gonna be Duke. I'm just gonna say it right now. I don't want with the kind of year it's been this year. Duke's winning it. I'm telling you. This is a little early prediction, but
they'll blow it to Auburn.
Because we know you're great at those.
Yeah, no, I'm great at them.
Put the farm on Houston. Did they play Houston? I think it's Florida, Auburn, Houston, Duke.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Put the farm on Houston. You heard it here first.
Farm on Houston. Nah. Auburn.
Hey, it's been better. It's been better than my baseball. It's smashed like my baseball predictions have been better. So
Yeah, so it's happy opening day. You know, I gotta rep the colors here. Opening day, opening weekend is come and gone.
I know I'm mad. I forgot to wash my Phillies shirt.
National games. You know, everybody's playing. Naturally lends itself to overreactions. So
Yeah.
In the spirit of that, what are your thoughts on the first weekend? Like, how'd the Phillies do? How'd the Nats do? What do you think?
You want to go first, Mikey?
Yeah, I'll go first. Nationals, no bullpen. That's all I got. We got.
It was rough to watch.
You know,
if they didn't have a bullpen, they might be better. They just didn't have somebody. Like, they had no
If
one.
Mackenzie Gore threw 150 pitches.
Yeah,
Bring back
Gore
Cy
just
Young
needs
or
to
something, I
throw his
guess.
arm out for this year, right? If we have a shot of winning. No, I think the arms that we do have in the pen that are good, like Finnegan, I think will be really good for us. But we just need the other guys to step up, like Sims. Sims has good stuff, but he's just.
But his jersey
not-
number is 40 and his ERA is higher than that.
I know.
It's lower now.
I know.
It's lower now.
I know.
Oh, is it?
It's now down to 20 and a half.
Oh, great, lovely.
Yeah, 'cause they
Oh,
took him out before
we
he
were
could
watching
give
the
up any
Phillies
today.
game we were watching the Phillies game when he chucked it into the net.
Oh my
That was a
God,
tough
it was
watch.
The worst. That was the worst pitch I've watched in a while.
Mr. Dowder over here, what do you think of those Phillies?
Yeah.
Honestly, for what it's worth, they looked all right. The
Struck out
strikeouts have
98
been.
times.
Dude, they struck out so bad. They got diced by Parker.
Mackenzie
It was
Gore
ugly
was
to watch.
one.
It was all their starters. Who are you kidding?
Mainly
Even Jake
Mackenzie
Irvin,
Gore.
who only went 5 innings, he looked good.
Yeah.
Mitchell Parker stuffed us for almost 7 innings. He made us look terrible.
Yeah.
So, for what it's worth, at least watching this, I didn't watch the game, but seeing the stats, they hit a little bit better. I'm going to put an asterisk on that because it was the Rockies, but for what it's worth, I will say this, minus the home runs from Nola, the pitching was pretty good, all things considered. Middle relief is still a giant question mark because it's, oh god, it gets very thin after like the first like 2 or 3 names in the bullpen. But
Hey, tomorrow's Taiwan Walker Day, right?
no, I think it's the game after.
April Fools?
Yeah, can I be fooled pretending he's not there, that he doesn't exist? No, it's Thursday. They're doing the weird thing again where Phillies have the day off tomorrow and then play Wednesday, Thursday. So, like opening day, they play Thursday.
I think the Orioles have off tomorrow too.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know if
What?
this is a new thing baseball did. It's just a weird thing. But I guess my big takeaway is, if there was something, if the Phillies starting pitching, I know Nola didn't look great, but it was really just 2 kind of mistakes. And, well, given it's Nola, and it's always the long ball, it's always going to be that way. But when Ranger gets back, I truthfully think because the main reason I'm saying this is because of how Luzardo pitched on Game 2. He looked unbelievable, even if it was a short outing with some problems here and there. If he pitches the way he did with Wheeler, and Sanchez looked amazing in his first outing. Again, asterisk on it because it was the Rockies, but I feel like I have to preface that because the Rockies are so bad. But
You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Orioles
feel
look good.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, finish it.
I'll just say if Ranger comes back and plays like the starter, I'm hoping he does. I do think Philly does have a top 5 rotation in baseball because I was really skeptical of Luzardo, and even if he is inconsistent, he's miles better than what I had to deal with in Taiwan Walker. So I'll take Luzardo for the rest of the season easily.
Yeah. Orioles are getting bit by the injury bird a little early.
Yeah.
Not looking too hot, but I will say their young guys are stepping up. Dare I say Jackson Holliday's looking good?
Yeah. He is.
There was one plate appearance I'll point to today. He had an RBI single in the 8th. Beautiful approach, inside out swing, took it backside. He also hit an inside out blissful in Toronto, and they split against the Blue Jays on the road opening day without Gunnar Henderson, and Colton Cowser got hurt.
Yeah.
In what was a rather disappointing play.
I'm really excited to watch the Orioles play this year.
And today we got the Rock and the Mountain back to back to close the game.
Yep.
Cano and Batista are back. Batista is still getting settled.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nice that we scored a bunch in the 8th inning to give him some breathing room.
Yeah.
But it was so cool because the broadcast didn't cut the whistle, his closer entrance.
Oh, really?
They didn't cut to commercial till after he came out.
Yeah.
But they're looking good. Their offense is as expected, amazing. Jordan Westberg is a dog. Tyler O'Neill, oh my goodness.
Whole offense is
Tyler
ridiculous.
O'Neill.
He was 4 today, right?
He had 4 for 4 today.
But,
He was 3 for 3 with 2 walks on opening day.
And Cedric Mullins is looking really good as well.
Cedric Mullins.
Everybody on your lineup looks good.
Yeah,
O'Neill looks unstoppable. Even Ron Urias has even started off the season playing solid.
Dude, their offense is crazy. As long as they can hit with runners in scoring position, which the games they've lost, they've had some trouble. But as long as they can, do what they did today and just hit backside and hit where they have to hit, and rather than try to go yard, they're gonna be fine.
Yep.
If Ryan Mountcastle gets back rolling, I'd be terrified of that offense. Really,
I
did want to ask you,
today,
since
too.
you were an Orioles, you're an Orioles fan, so you might have saw if they said, because I know one of your starters, which was Sugano, I know he left his game early. And then you said Cowser got hurt. Did they say how long either of those two were going to be out?
Cowser is about 2 months, broken thumb. He broke his thumb
sucks.
coming in. And then Sagano, I don't anticipate an IL stint for him.
Okay.
Anything I've seen, he cramped.
Okay.
So I mean that's going to build, the Japanese pitchers are going to build up. And Sasaki's doing the same thing.
Yeah. It's
a transition and it takes a minute to get used to.
But because I was gonna, the only reason I asked mainly was about Sugano, because it was say if he got hurt, did they have 5 starters? Because I know Suarez also got hurt as well.
They have a guy. They have a couple guys that are in AAA that they had to drop down.
Gotcha. Apparently,
and then
Sugano,
Gunnar is in Norfolk right now, so he's back soon.
Okay.
He just hit a homer yesterday, I think.
Nice.
I need to go see him before he leaves.
Apparently, Sugano just had cramps.
Yeah, he went
Okay.
out with cramps.
So it was nothing crazy bad.
So he'll probably be back for his next outing.
Yeah,
most
he'll
likely.
probably
He'll
be
be
back.
fine.
Yeah, I don't know. The one thing I will say about the Orioles, I want to say, because just out of personal preference, I think they're so cool. Honestly, your team's so cool to watch, and
They're just fun.
I think, and what I'll also say is, because I do have a soft spot here for the Orioles. One, because last year, at one point, you had 3 Phillies relievers on that team, which I still find funny. You still have 2 of them.
A couple guys.
You still have 2 of the 3. You just don't have Craig Kimbrell, but
We have Soto.
and Dominguez. And if Dominguez keeps pitching well,
shoved today, by the way.
he looks good. And
He
I
shoved
still
today.
broke my heart that we traded him away, but I feel like it was probably the right move. He just wasn't working in Philly for what they were trying to get him to do.
Yeah.
And I think if Baltimore can get him going, you have an unbelievable trio of relievers in Yunier Cano, Felix Bautista, and Sir Anthony Dominguez.
Well, it's
preference.
baffling to me that they can turn relievers into really good players. Like Cano was an outcast.
Get Soto back rolling as well, and you got.
That's what I'm saying. Is as long as Soto is not on the field right now, I'm okay. Because he didn't look great in spring training, but then
He
again,
started out all right. He's gone 4 outs with 3 strikeouts, or 4 strikeouts actually. Every out he has been a strikeout.
good. I didn't see him this weekend at all, but I know he's had some command issues the last couple of years. But if we can get him back to Detroit, like Detroit form, he'll be fine.
He's always had command issues. That's just
You're right. That's just him.
Yeah.
that's just him.
But if we can get Felix into, peak form, this team's gonna be scary.
because they will load up on.
Because they're a vibes team, and I told Mike this. I'm gonna make an early prediction. I think that they're gonna get rid of Kobe Mayo to get Sandy Alcantara.
You told me this, yes.
I think they're gonna send him because Kobe Mayo can't. He's boxed out.
Yeah.
Because he's already boxed out. Because Ramon Urias and Jorge Mateo are both bench middle infielders, Then you've got Westberg, who's playing like a god. Henderson, who's top 5 player in the American League, and Jackson Holiday,
who's been playing really good.
Who's been playing really well. And there's 2 guys at first, and then Sam Basalo is coming up at some point. I think he's slotted out of, like, I don't think there's anywhere he can go. So I think they're gonna have to trade him, and they need an ace. Like, if Grayson Rodriguez doesn't come back and just absolutely shove, I think they're gonna go get Alcantara. They have the assets to do it. I don't see why they wouldn't. And honestly, as a fan, I would not be that mad.
Well, could it also depend on is Bradish or Wells gonna come back? Either of them?
I don't know. Wells is hurt for a while.
And Bradish Bradish might be out for the year.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about him recovery at all. But Grayson is throwing on flat grounds, so that's a good
Grayson
sign.
will be back probably by like June, late May.
Late May, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, right around then.
But
give me your biggest overreaction for the weekend.
Overreaction.
Could be anywhere, anyone, any team, anything.
All right. Hear me out. Rafael Devers. He's gonna have a worse start than Chris Davis did.
Wow.
we're talking 0 for 57.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Dude,
I think it could be that bad because his swing and misses are
he's
not good, right?
he's not chasing. That's the problem.
0 for 20 with 14 strikeouts is never a good look.
His chase rate is fantastic.
Yeah.
He just misses everything in the zone.
He's not hitting.
Well, yeah, like I watched it today. He's striking out on pitches down the middle.
Yeah, he's just not making contact right now, and I just don't know
so
if he's going to
weird
be
to
able to
see.
get a hit.
Well, okay, so it might have something to do with the fact that he's not playing third base, not because he's like salty about it, or like I've seen stories about people like, oh, it's a revenge thing. Like, no, it's not. But there is a routine that you get into, and the idea of like you get cold sitting on the bench.
Yeah, it's definitely true. I mean,
Well, it also could be a vibes thing as well because I remember I was watching. There's a YouTuber I watched in Fuzzy. He talked about Stanton having problems when he switched to DH. When he had this get swapped to DH because they didn't want him in the outfield because go watch his Marlins clips of the outfield. They were ugly to watch. They were ugly to watch. But like he hit some of his best ever when he was in Miami. That season, he hit 59 home runs. He was primarily a right fielder because he had to. They didn't. There wasn't a DH back then.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's a unfortunately, a mental aspect to having to be DH because you're pretty much sitting alone in the dugout while the rest of your team's out there doing half the work.
Yeah.
Yeah, all your friends.
Like for me, there's like this mental lock in and lock out. And when you're on the bench and you're not in the game for the full 9 innings that you're there, like it's really hard to get locked in. And that's like the same situation with like a pinch hitter. Like you have to mentally lock in to be a pinch hitter as well. Like you have to be locked into that game for those 9 innings because you need to be ready to go. And I guess just Devers' mindset when he's hitting DH is just like he just locks in and then locks back out, and he just can't focus. He can't stay focused into the game at that point. So
it's sad to see. I think he'll get it sorted because, like I said, like you said, Zach, his chase rate has been so like it's been Devers. He doesn't chase, and that like I watched.
No, his chase rate is fine. It's
Yeah,
not
that's
even
what I mean. It's
chasing,
been good. He's been good. When you look at Chris Davis, I remember there were so many times where he got beat on just low breaking balls that essentially bounced. I know there was at least 6 to 8 strikeouts that was that to a T. And Devers hasn't done that.
But Chris Davis also lined out like 5 or 6 times before he got his hit. So
This is also
Devers
true.
just hasn't been making contact like at all.
It's a fair statement to say.
How about you, Nick? What's your overreaction for the weekend?
You ready for it?
No, probably not.
The Pirates are going to lose 115 games.
Wow.
Dude, they looked horrible against the Miami Marlins. They blew 3 leads to lose
Cardiac
3
fish.
games.
Cardiac fish.
Who, by the way, got stuffed by the Mets 10-2, by the way.
I mean, that checks out.
Yeah, because they're not good. That team is awful in Miami. You can tell. You can sit there.
Well, I didn't know
and agree
Jared
with them.
Jones was out for a while.
Yeah, it happened during spring training.
He blew his arm.
Yeah.
Non-surgery, though, which is never a good
He's
sign.
supposed
Because he's going to need surgery, but they're just delaying the inevitable.
I don't know. At least from what I heard, they haven't said he's out for the year, but
Because they said they're going to try to monitor and whatever. But,
they're gonna see. Yeah. So
Bubba's coming up.
It's just that team is just miserable to watch. They keep going out there and thinking David Bednar should close games. That alone should be a cardinal sin.
I remember watching him live.
This is the same team
He still almost blew it.
who someone fractured their foot running around the bases of a home run.
Oh yeah.
That was great.
This team.
I mean,
is a
not great that he got hurt.
Not great.
No,
Not great that he got
That's,
hurt, but it was.
this
It made me
team
laugh. I will
is the
say.
textbook definition of a clown show, and you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it. They're already 1-4. They got stuffed by the Rays. 6-1. Like, they got teed off on a Rays lineup who, yes, well, I've said is gonna be scrappy. It's not that good. And Josh Lau's already out. Like, this team is horrible on such an unbelievable scale. And if this doesn't get Bob Nutting to sell the team, nothing is ever going to get him to sell the team. He has had chance for over 5 years now of fans screaming to sell the team. Bottom 3 in attendance, and this season could be the season that causes him to sell. If they lose 115 games, which
Or
I
trade
do believe could
Skeens.
happen. Skeenson's going to get traded, but you could see Kelly get traded. There's a very good chance that happens.
Where do you think Skeens would go to get traded?
This year?
If he were to get
They're not
traded
gonna-
this year, yeah.
They're not going to trade him 2 years in, but
I know they're not, but let's
If
say
If he were to
do-
get traded this
hypothetical.
year,
Giants.
no, it's got to be somebody who's got crazy depth.
Brewers.
Detroit.
Maybe.
Send him Max Clark.
I'm going to say the Giants, 'cause I know the Giants are going to be tough to beat this year. That division's tough, and they got solid starting pitching to boot, so they will want even more depth there. And getting someone like that,
I
they
think
would
they
take
need
him
a
in a
bat
heartbeat.
more than they need because they always whiff on the big bat free agents.
Not this year.
Yeah, their lineup
I mean,
is
they got
okay.
Adamas.
They got well, yeah, but that's about it. Like they don't have a big lineup. Like they're not gonna be feared. Their lineup isn't gonna be feared. Their pitching might be,
Yeah.
if Verlander can stay healthy. But their lineup is not something where you look at it as like that's a top 5 offense in baseball.
No, but what I'll say to that is I think if you get, because you have Matt Chapman, and Matt Chapman is still an unbelievable ball player. And they got, I mean, the best part of their team is essentially young, and Jung Ho Lee, Patrick Bailey, and Helio Ramos. So it's like, they have the all-stars there. You have the young talent there. It just kind of needs to come together. And so far, it's kind of doing that to open up the year for them. So that's why I think Giants. And if they weren't ready to compete, I didn't think they would go out and try to get Verlander, but maybe that's just a I don't know move. But yeah, did you do yours yet?
No, I
You haven't done
Yeah,
yours
what's
yet.
yours,
Okay.
Zach?
What's yours?
Braves will be eliminated from playoff contention by September 15th. The wheels are gonna fall off. They
No.
look
What?
terrible. They
No.
look terrible.
No, Acuna
They
will be
look
back. hopefully.
terrible.
Could it just
Dude, Profar just got suspended.
Well, I
He's
know
out half
Profar
the
just
year.
I know
He's
Profar
out half
just
the
got
year.
suspended.
Acuna's
That's
out.
bad.
They
I know
look
Sean Murphy's out
horrendous.
for a while.
Like they got one hit.
Did they actually?
They did
Was
last
it
night
game
by the
3 or
Padres.
4?
Really?
Was it game?
Dang.
Was it the third or
Sun-
fourth game?
Sunday Night Baseball, national television. They got shoved.
But Nick Pivetta,
They also got swept, if anybody was wondering.
Yeah, they're 0-4
they
right
got shoved by Nick Pivetta.
Dude, they look horrendous.
now. But it's not that bad.
No,
And
Nick
the
Pivetta
Padres,
is
don't get me
bad.
wrong, the Padres are probably a playoff team. But they're the people you're going to be fighting against to get into the playoffs. If they don't turn it around, like I understand. Okay. Yes, I know this is an opening weekend overreaction. That's kind of the purpose of the exercise.
Oh yeah,
But
Yeah.
they look horrible.
no, they do.
Like, easily biggest disappointment of the weekend for me.
What I could say also with that is, I don't see it getting better because you know who they play the next 3 games.
Oh, L.A. They're
They're
playing right now.
still in the West
Oh
Coast.
no!
Yeah.
Like they actually could start the year 0-7. There's a
They're
real
going.
Yeah, that's what I'm
possibility of
saying,
that.
dude.
Going to. Like you're just
Dude,
not beating the Dodgers team.
Oh, that's a
Horrible.
tough way to start the year. I mean, at least they have the fish, and I know they're probably going to
Oh,
tee off a
shocker!
bit on the
Guy
Phillies.
just struck out.
Yeah,
First pitch of the game.
So you said the Braves? Well, I mean, I guess that's fair. The Braves are the
September
biggest disappointment.
15th. They out.
But I mean, I guess is part of it also that they're just.
Well,
I
okay,
don't know.
so yes, they made the playoffs last year, just barely, and they did it without an offense, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But to do
It
that
was essentially
again,
Ozuna.
you
on
have to
an
you have to
island.
get another career year from an older Chris Sale, who I mean that's a tough ask. You have to be confident that Spencer Strider will not only come back, but will come back in time to make a difference, and will come back good enough to be useful.
Oh, and Reynaldo Lopez just went on the IL with shoulder inflammation. Oh no!
Telling you, dude, not looking
This is-
good. Vibes are not up in Atlanta.
I guess the biggest reason I'm not willing to say it yet, and I think that's a fair. What you're saying is fair. Is they did, like you said, they did it without an offense. They still have Olsen. You have Albies.
But the difference was the offense, like that, the people that they had did well. Outside of Matt Olson, the
But it was
bench,
just Olsen and Ozuna.
the lower level. Well, Ozuna had an unbelievable season.
But that was the only two things that kept them afloat.
Exactly, but they don't have that this year. Like,
But you
They-
still got
but
you
their
got Michael
stars are
Harris
back.
back. You got Albies back. You have Riley back. Like those guys are still high level contributors.
that's
and
true,
all-stars.
and it's very possible they turn it around next week. And I still think that if they were to turn it around quick, they're going to beat the Mets.
They'll beat
'cause
Philly
low
at some
Mets.
point.
I
But
think
They'll beat
But
Philly at some
I don't know,
point.
man. Like it just the vibes feel off. They
It's a
don't
rough
feel-
start.
It doesn't
It's
feel like
hard
they
to
have
come
any
back.
energy at all.
I think they just had a tough first week schedule with the Padres and then the Dodgers to follow up.
Both
right
on the
after.
West Coast as well, which is
Yeah.
not an easy draw.
Right.
Which I will agree. But
So-
0-7 is a tough thing to come back from.
It is, and they're just gonna have to battle back. I
But
think
if it
Acuna
does
coming
happen.
back will be a good bring back moment. And maybe, hopefully, Marcel.
Swellenbach's
does
got to
something
do
decent.
well.
Him and Sale have to do well.
Yeah.
And they got to hope that one of either Grant Holmes keeps pitching well or AJ Smith-Shawver,
Yeah.
if I'm saying his name right, keeps
He did
bringing
not
up.
pitch well.
No, he did not. But so you said your biggest disappointment is the Atlanta Braves.
Oh yeah, they look terrible.
That is fair.
Yeah.
This is tough for me. Actually, I have mine.
I mean, I'm Brewers. Brewers have disappointed me.
That's who I was gonna say, but I'll
Brewers
say
have
mine,
very
actually.
much disappointed me. I'm so sad. I don't know what to say about
Dude,
them. They just look
Their
bad.
pitching.
They just look so
it's
bad.
like home run derby. Did you see
Yeah.
the score of the Royals game, Zach?
Yeah.
They've given up double-digit runs 3 games in a row now.
Yeah. Like I get the
They got
Yankees
whacked.
were red hot that weekend, but they just don't look good.
Dude, their pitching staff in 4 games has given up 47 runs. Folks, that is an average of almost 12 runs a game.
That's brutal. That's
Football
that's tough.
scores.
So bad.
I wonder if some of their did they have some
The second
position
Yankee
players
game.
throw?
Yes, Jake Bauer's pitching back-to-back days.
You know it's bad when
What's his ERA compared to some of the pitching staff? Man?
0.
it's bad when your points per game averages about the
Dude.
same that the Packers defense gives up.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Hey,
So bad.
they might as well throw Bowers out on the mound, see what happens.
Dude,
Like,
Nestor got shelled.
screw it, bring in Jordan Love. Come on,
yeah, just have him go out there and throw 50.
bring in
maybe
Giannis
it'll-
while you're at it. Put him at DH.
What hasn't helped is their starting pitching also got decimated to hell and back by injuries. Savali's hurt.
trades.
Tobias Myers is hurt. Nestor is getting shelled.
And they get rid of Devin Williams.
Freddie Peralta's the only one who's actually gone out there and pitched competently.
Jackson Churio, woof.
Oh no, he's
That was a
been
tough
rough
weekend.
as well.
That was a tough weekend.
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
had the Olympic
him and
rings
Dylan
on-
Cruz
on
had like
opening
the
day.
rough ones.
Olympic, what is it called? The Olympic
The
rings?
Olympic rings.
Yeah, 0 for
So did
5 with
Dylan
5
Cruz.
Ks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Or
platinum
Dylan Cruz went
Slim
0 for
Brew.
8. The last 2 games in Philly, Dylan Cruz went 0 for 8 with 8 strikeouts. That's tough. I don't know if he did any better today.
I wonder what 0 for
No, he
6
went 0
with
for
6
4.
Ks is. 0 for 5 with 5 Ks is a platinum sombrero. What is
I think it's called the horn.
the horn. That's a tough day at the office.
Yeah, Dylan Cruz also had a rough go of things.
Yeah,
He's currently he is currently 0 for 15 with 10 Ks.
Oh,
He might get sent down. There is a good chance.
I don't think so.
If he doesn't get a hit through like 10 games,
Devers hadn't been sent down.
Yeah.
Luis Arias hasn't been sent down.
yeah, you know why? Because those 2 got extensions.
Yeah.
And they've also been in the major leagues for a long time. Dylan Cruz is like, what, 21?
I just don't think they'll send Cruz down yet.
I don't think they'll send it down.
I don't think they'll send
He's
it
their
down.
big fan draw right
Right.
now.
Well,
He is
Woods
their
isn't,
big
Abrams isn't.
Not by themselves.
Yeah.
Who's yours, Nick?
Well, since Mikey went, Brewers, I got to change it up. So I'm gonna say no, because I actually do have another one. I'm gonna say Minnesota, because I knew they weren't gonna be great. But dude, that opening series against St. Louis was so bad. They looked horrible, and more than that, that was one of the games I watched today. Today they played. Remember the take you said, Zach? Remember the take about the team they played in the Chicago White Sox? What did you say? Say it for everybody, because I'm not going to say the score until you say it.
They're going to be within 5 games of 4th place.
Forget that. They might be in 4th place this year. They shoved the Twins 9-0. Martin Perez went 6 no-hit innings. Martin Perez went 6 no-hit innings. They got 2 hit by the White Sox.
Hey, man, all I got to say,
That's embarrassing.
this is going to be golden take of golden takes if I nailed this.
That would be hilarious.
But they don't look bad. They don't look bad.
No.
And the A's are going to play meaningful games in a minor league stadium in September. That's going to be
count
Twins.
out a hungry team. And
That's my thing. Like,
The
you
Twins
can't
might
tell me
get
the guy like Luis Robert is not got a chip on his shoulder.
Oh, he does. Because
You can't tell me that those pitchers who they just played for literally the worst team of all time, you can't tell me that that's not hanging on the wall of their locker room.
Or Benintendi,
Yeah.
who has the largest contract in White Sox history.
Michael
and
A.
he's been
Taylor is still there?
historically bad. They got him.
Yeah, Michael A's.
They picked him up this offseason. And he's hitting well. He's batting .375 with over 1,000 OPS.
Good for him. I like him.
I know, I like him too. And Benintendi has 2 bombs to open up the year. Like the White Sox have looked okay in some senses. They still look.
They're not competing for anything significant, but they're not going to be that bad.
They look horrible, and that's been surprising to me because I genuinely thought the Twins were going to be maybe 3rd place this year. I thought one of either Cleveland or Detroit
If they go
was gonna have
south,
a
are you
rough
going
year.
to get rid of Buxton?
Dude, forget Buxton. Like, there's a chance guys like Joe Ryan and Johan Duran might get traded.
I think
Duran's
Buxton's
going to get
too
a
much
lot
of a
of
draw.
money if he goes, or a lot of prospects back if he goes.
Who, Duran?
Oh yeah.
So is Ryan. Ryan would get huge haul in return if they trade him. Like, the biggest thing is, I watched opening day. Pablo Lopez got shelled by the Cardinals.
Oh, did you guys see? Unrelated, but did
Yeah.
you see? Does the name Ryan Nelson mean anything to you?
Dude. I talked to my dad about this. Do you want to tell it or do you want me?
What happened?
So.
The Cubs were 6-2, by the way. I'm just going to say this.
So they scored 8 runs, but they
in the 8th inning.
Yeah, and they pulled whoever their DH was. I think Ketel Marte was DHing, and they pulled their second baseman to pinch hit for a different guy. I forget his name, but because they did that, they were going to have to move Ketel Marte into the field into second,
Yep.
which means they're going to lose their DH, which means that a pitcher was going to have to hit. So they bat around that inning. Who comes up and they call in Ryan Nelson from the bullpen. They called him and it's like in like the 6th inning. They said, "Hey, this is how this is trending. Get your butt into the batting cages and start swinging." So Because apparently a couple years ago, there was a guy that like struck out on like 4 pitches or something. Pitcher came in, and the manager for the Diamondbacks asked Nelson, is like, if you were up, what would you have done? Or what would you have done? And he said, I'd have smoked it somewhere, naturally.
Yeah.
What a pitcher would say. That's literally what he said. So the manager was like, okay, you got your shot. And he literally, Nelson said after the game that the manager came up to him and was like, I know there's first and second, 1 out. Just hit it hard somewhere. I don't even care. Don't bunt. Don't worry about it. Just go up there and do not take a pitch. Just go in there and hack away. And he laced an RBI single.
Oh,
dude.
And he scored.
The Cubs are so bad.
And he scored.
I love pitchers.
First PO to bat since Zach Greinke did it in the World Series.
Wow.
2021.
Dude, I stand by. While Torey Lovello may have never won a manager. Actually, no, he did. He has won a manager of the year before. It was a while ago. It was 2017. I went to look. I thought he won one in the last 3 years, but he didn't. But he's been such a good manager. He has stayed through Arizona through basically everything, which I respect him so much for. And to do that was unbelievable. And that hit was huge. I mean, they were only up by 1 run. That not only kept them up, kept everything going, although ironically Suarez tried to extend the single and got gunned. I don't know why Suarez tried to go second to home. Eugenio Suarez, that dude should have never tried that. But
he's got 3 bombs though, so you can't be that mad.
Oh yeah, no, but like the reason I say this because it extended the inning, and then they proceeded to put another 2 runs on top of that, essentially killing any hope that Chicago had left. Like if Ryan Nelson gets out, I don't think they're out of the inning, but they have 2 outs, and dude, it was just that was so bad to watch, and it was so funny to watch, but man, that was brutal. But no, I'm so glad you brought that up because that was cool. That was so.
We love
funny.
Pitcher City. It reminds it. I got the same vibes as the LSU guy a couple years ago. Came in. I forget his name, but he came in. He pinch hit and he hit a nuke that ended up winning them the game. And he told the coach, because the coach said, like, when did you swing in high school? He said,
Todd Peterson.
Yeah.
And then he does the post game interview, and they're like, "Did you hit in high school?" He goes, "No, I was a PO."
Yeah. And
But I hit
turns to
dingers.
his coach and is like, "I'm sorry, coach, I lied."
Yeah,
to
he's
you."
like, "My bad, dog."
And the coach is just laughing.
The coach is like, "Ah."
He's just laughing his butt off. You lied to me.
Because it's so funny.
I can't even
Because
be
it
mad.
worked. Because it worked. You can't get mad when it works. It's one of those weird things to say.
Yeah.
But dude,
Dodgers are up 2-0 in the first inning.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Good lord.
Speaking of
Grant
hitting,
Holmes not pitching well.
speaking of hitting, have y'all seen the new style of bat that's been going around?
Torpedoes.
Torpedoes. Torpedo bat. What y'all think?
Yeah.
What y'all thinking about?
I respect it. I respect the hustle. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, this is why I hate Twitter so much because you just see so many obnoxious people on it.
People are saying
and
it's
this
cheating.
is-
It's not
It's
cheating.
not
Oh
cheating.
my god,
It's
it's
not
all
cheating.
over
Well,
the-
what you're
No,
gonna
it's
do is you're
not.
gonna have a lot more
It's
broken
not,
bats
and I don't
because
get
the
it. It's
handle's
not.
thinner. They took wood. They took weight out of the handle and put it in the barrel, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like if that's how the analytics work, and clearly that's how the analytics work.
So my understanding of it, right, like from a material standpoint, so essentially what they're doing is adding more density to closer to the handle, so that guys like Cody Bellinger, who tended to get jammed a lot, would have a better shot at making more solid contact, catching a ball on like the quarter of the bat that's from the handle to like the middle of the barrel, instead of it being from the middle of the barrel to the end of the barrel. And it just makes that bat a little bit more dense in that area, so that it's got a little bit more jump. Makes it so that those guys that get jammed often have a better shot at making more solid contact. And you can see it helping Cody Bellinger.
Well, it helps Jazz a ton too.
Help Jazz.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that. I have a funny
Jeffers on the
tweet here.
Twins as well. I think it's helping pretty well.
Because it's not just the Yankees.
Yeah, no, it's not just the Yankees.
It's just the Yankees are taking the biggest advantage of it because of.
I don't know how long
because of how much they hammered.
Well, started last or mid last year. Mid
Mm-hmm.
last year is when it really, because they talked about it. The Yankees, one of their analytics guys figured that out last year. But the one thing I will say, and I saw this on MLB Network, so I'm gonna kind of piggyback off it. But
okay,
hitters don't hit homers. Pitchers throw homers. So like you can complain all you want about like, oh no, they're cheating, like they changed the bats, like yes, but also the Brewers pitchers were terrible all weekend.
And the
they
game
threw
after
cookies.
had proved
they
it.
threw cookies all
the game
weekend.
after today proved it when they got shelled 11-1.
Yeah, they threw cookies all weekend. So I mean you can't be mad that you give up homers when you throw stuff down the middle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they're not called the Bronx Bombers on accident.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, Aaron Judge is a Hall of Famer.
Goldie's like an outside Hall of Famer, possibly.
He's gonna have 500 homers by the time he retires.
Judge.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think also you also have another guy who could be in the Hall of Fame in Paul Goldschmidt. You got two exciting players in Jazz Chisholm and Cody Bellinger. Like I
know people forget. I feel like people forgot about Cody Bellinger.
You forget the fact that Cody Bellinger has an MVP,
and he almost won 2.
Oh yeah, that's true. Forgot about that.
He's just so hot and cold that people like.
Yeah, that's true. But the short porch is going to help him, and he's got like 6 or 7 games at Steinbrenner Field too, which he hit well in all spring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
which is another short porch.
Well, something I want to mention as well because you brought up Jazz, and did you see the tweet that went viral from Jazz?
No.
He said this, and I'm so glad. You know, a lot of people always give Jazz Chisholm a lot of crap, but I think he's great for baseball in some senses. In a lot of senses, honestly, and this is one of them. He went on Twitter and he said, okay, explanation, the barrel is bigger and within MLB regulation. For the idiots that say it's moved to the label, you're an idiot. Nobody is trying to get jammed. You just move the wood from the parts you don't use to the parts you do. You're welcome. No more stress for y'all. But I did want to ask this one question. Because you said they took it from the handle and put it up. Is there a chance that it could cause more hand injuries with like less to hold? So you're putting more force in it, maybe?
I
could be thinking about it wrong.
Well, I think there are some things that are going to have to change, like how hard you grip the bat. You're going to have to grip a little harder because I don't actually know if it's out of the handle, but when you look at the bat, the handle looks small.
It looks smaller, yeah.
Like the barrel is definitely bigger, so I'm pretty sure they just took it out of the kind of not where you put your hands, but in between.
Well, I think it's from the end, and a little bit from the end, and a little bit from the handle. Like it's not all just the handle.
It's not just they took the stuff out of the hands and now you're gripping half. Yeah. Like I would imagine it came out of that middle section of the bat where it's kind of.
No, you're probably right. Yeah.
But I don't think it's going to cause an outrageous amount of difference.
Okay.
Like I don't think you're going to have more wrist breaks from overswinging.
Okay.
Because it looks like the Yankees, for the most part, they have pretty level swings. Like there isn't a guy on the team that just absolutely swings out of his shoelaces, like throws caution to the wind. Cody Bellinger's controlled though.
Well, he's not here. I was gonna say Stanton, but he's not here.
Well, Stanton, yeah. Well, he's already here, so. And then Cody Bellinger swings hard, but he swings very controlled hard, and it's the same swing every time. Because there's some guys in the league they swing really stupidly hard.
Some people swing violently.
And they flail. And when they flail, they get hurt.
Yeah.
Joey Gallo.
Yeah. Honestly, I think...
The pitcher, you mean?
Yeah. Pitcher Joey Gallo.
Best thing I've ever seen this.
Hey, if he makes a big league squad, good on him.
Yeah.
So honestly, looking at a picture of it now, it doesn't look like they took much out of the handle, or at all, anything out of the handle. It looks like they just took the end. And just basically shrunk the end and added a little bit more to that center of the barrel, just to give you that little bit more density to it in that spot, which makes sense. Like your misses are going to be worse misses, but your barrels are going to be better barrels. So it's a high risk, high reward, is what it seems like. So.
I got something to say, and I'll go to it after. But I wanted to ask you guys also because we talked about biggest disappointments before the Torpedoes. Who do you think's been the biggest surprise so far through 4 games?
I mean, for me, White Sox.
They're not bad. They won a game.
I think it's also hard to gauge because I still think the Angels are also complete garbage.
They are really bad.
Yeah.
But I will say,
I'm
I think it's
sorry,
fair
Trout.
with the Twins win because that was unbelievable. It was also really embarrassing for the Twins, but who are now 0-4. But honestly, the White Sox are probably a fair one to say. I mean, they are 2-2 to open up the year, which a lot of people probably thought, oh, they're going to be 0-4.
I don't know if this is a homer pick because it's my wild pick, but give me the A's. They're a fun
I feel
team
like
to
that's
watch.
fair.
Like
Yeah.
they
looked
got
good in all 4
energy.
games.
They got energy and they're losing right now, which isn't great. But they look honestly they look motivated, which is a lot different. And Luis Severino
Ooh.
shoved.
4-0.
Well, their starting pitching was great all weekend.
Yeah, it was good.
Like they split against the Mariners, which is pretty good. I mean, when they lost,
probably
they didn't
could've
lose
taken
bad. When
game
they
one
won,
with
they
how
won
well
big.
Severino pitched.
Severino pitched well.
Jeffrey Springs pitched amazing.
Jeffrey
in the game they
Springs pitched well, and
won. Even
their-
Sears pitched great in the game they lost.
and their offense, will take time, but there's some stars in there. Brent Rooker is still great. Lawrence Butler is still great.
Oh yeah,
Like there are pieces there,
Langoliers has power.
and they got Max Muncy now.
I remember
Not the same
joking
Max
with you-
Muncy, but
joking with you
a
about
different Max Muncy.
It's a Max Muncy.
A Max Muncy, not the
A-
Max
Not
Muncy.
the Max
It's a
Muncy.
Max Muncy.
He also plays second base, which Max Muncy has played.
Has he really?
Yeah, he's played second base.
Mm-hmm.
He's played pretty much everywhere in the infield.
Yeah.
In case anybody wants an immaculate grid answer, there you go.
So I love that we played Mac here.
Honestly,
Mac
AL
really
West
great
might be a
teammates.
battle this year.
It's gonna be a bloodbath.
Yeah. 'Cause, I mean, I'm looking at
It
their records right now.
could be.
Angels are 2-1, Astros are 2-1, Rangers 3-2, Athletics 2-2, Mariners 2-2.
The Angels
They're
are gonna
all
start
kinda, like,
sinking at some point.
There. Granted, it's early and
The Angels are winning right now. They just took the lead.
Yeah, I
Which is
wow.
Yeah.
Mike Trout. There you go.
absolutely horrendous play by the Cardinals. But
It was ugly to see. Yeah. No, it was ugly.
how about you? How about you, Nick?
Though it's funny, we kind of just mentioned the fact that, mentioned that game. I am gonna say St. Louis because I genuinely thought they were gonna start the year either 1-5 or like 0-4, 1-5, 2-10 or something like that. And they looked really good for the opening series. Their starting pitching is still so good in St. Louis, and the hitting showed up. It showed up. I mean, you got Arenado, who's looked solid through the start of the year. They're getting performances out of guys like Nolan Gorman and Pages and Donovan, and this is with, I don't think Contreras still hasn't even gotten hit so far this year. And they put up 5, 5, and 9 in 3 games they played. I know they're probably going to lose tonight to the Angels, but honestly, for how bad I thought St. Louis was going to be, I didn't think they're going to be the worst team in the Central, because I still think the Pirates are garbage. But I thought St. Louis was going to be a team that loses 85, 90 games, and at least through what I've seen so far, they haven't looked like that. They've looked competent, and they've looked like St. Louis. The St. Louis that we're all
And
used
that
to
division
seeing.
is weak. So.
That division is weak. There's no getting around that, but they look good against the team I thought was going to be at least scrappy in the Twins, and they look bad, but through 4 games. But yeah, I got to give it. St. Louis looks great, and their bullpen is always going. That pitching staff is going to keep them in games night in and night out. That's what I've learned.
Your host looks really
Their
good.
whole pitching staff is good. You got Fade, you got Gray. Palante pitched a solid outing. We'll see if Miles Michaelis can figure something out.
He didn't have
But
a great game.
he was all right. But yeah, it's one of those things where I feel like this. And Michaelis was all right. He went 5 1/3. But they have a lot of underrated talent that they can hold their own this season. So yeah, it was that or Tampa, and I refused to pick Tampa because they played the Rockies.
Wow.
And they lost the game.
Yeah. Even if they swept them, I still wouldn't have said Tampa. The Rockies are so bad, you know it.
The best player in their roster might be Charlie Blackmon, who is in the front office now.
No, Tovar is there.
Tovar, honestly, Gold Glove. He made
Tovar
some
is
great
so
plays.
He is good.
Tovar is amazing. The rest of that lineup, no. The rest of that lineup is cheeks.
Is Chris Bryant playing yet?
Chris Bryant is no.
Is he injured? Him and Rendon share the hospital beds together. Like they're in the
I
same
don't even
room.
see him in the
Yeah,
line.
right next
Oh
to
wait,
each
no,
other.
he is.
Oh, okay, good.
He's 0 for 10 with 5 strikeouts.
Oh, that's less good. That's less good.
What's his rating on the show? He's like a common now.
I hope
He's
not.
way
I
down.
hope not.
No, he is. I
How
saw
the
a
mighty
picture on
fall.
TikTok. He's a 64.
How the mighty fall.
He's only like 31.
He's so bad. Dude,
He's just
have you ever
fucking
seen
crazy.
someone get paid to be a hitter to go to Colorado and their hitting falls off a cliff? There's one name I could think of who's done that. And that was Ian Desmond.
Oh, poor Ian Desmond, dude.
Like, that's a pretty bad company because Ian Desmond's contract is one of the worst in National League history. It's so bad.
Bobby Bonilla.
Nothing will be worse than Bobby Bonilla. Well, nothing will be funnier than Bobby Bonilla.
Mark your calendars.
Do, 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 do.
I think Bobby Bonilla still gets paid longer than Ohtani will.
Probably. Well, it's still 2035. So actually, it might, no, it's not. Because those times will be
Then
till
it will
2040.
we'll go straight from Bonilla Day to Ohtani Day when he gets $68 million a year.
Because Otani's till 2040.
Yep. Hey, Dodgers.
And knowing them, they'll extend. Don't worry, the Dodgers will probably do that, and they'll pay him till like 2070. We'll be telling our grandkids about.
Yeah, Ohtani will be dead, and they'll still be paying his children.
They'll pay the estate.
Yeah.
They're actually going to funnel the money directly to the Principality of Japan.
So
Or to Decoy. That's probably a better option. To the dog.
I'm trying to see if I can find the clip, or not the clip, but there was a story right now that's going viral with baseball, and I don't know if either of you two have heard about this. So basically, ESPN gave the ultimate middle finger to the MLB, and they're not really covering baseball anymore outside of the one game a week that they show.
You know why,
They-
right?
Well,
They just
it's 'cause
terminated the contract.
Yeah, they just terminated the contract, yeah. But I forgot about that. But
Yeah, so they're terminating the contract after the season because the MLB filed a grievance with ESPN saying you don't cover us.
yeah, so that was the thing I said. Did you see when? So Rob Manfred sat down with Christopher Russo. Yeah, I'm not the biggest Christopher Russo fan personally, but he essentially sat there and he went off on how much ESPN disrespected the entire MLB and how they've never covered them because they said it's a dying sport, essentially.
That is true, they did say that.
Which I think is a load of crap, honestly. They want to say that, yet they're giving all the money to the NBA, the
Right.
league that has not had positive viewership since 2012.
Yeah.
That has not had an upswing in viewers since 2012.
Yeah.
A league that has lost viewership in 13 straight seasons.
Dude, I feel like every time I watch ESPN, that's all they show is NBA and NFL. Like those are
Well,
like their two sports that they
There
show.
was
Well, they're talking about the same. They talk about the same story, the same NFL story every week.
Yeah.
well, there was a thing that went viral with RG3. I don't know if you saw this, Zach.
The croissant picture.
Not the Chris. No, but he went off on he went off on Stephen Smith, mainly targeting Stephen A. Smith there, and most of ESPN saying that they spend more time talking about the theatrics and the politics of sports rather than the game itself.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I really do think to be true because I mean I see clips on all the time on TikTok, and one of the biggest things I remember was Not the buzzer beater Bulls-Lakers game, but the one where the Bulls just absolutely shoved the Lakers. Kobe White and Josh Giddey decided to just teabag the Lakers. And I think they put up like 55 points. And one thing that really one thing that I was that kind of caught me off guard was it was basically they just sat there and talked about how bad the Lakers were rather than actually cover how the game went, or they just bring up tweets. And it's one of those things that really frustrates me because, you know, I don't know if it was like for you guys. I mean, did you guys grow up watching ESPN as a kid? I know I did. It was like my childhood. I mean, this is what let me say this.
I love PTI. Pardon the interruption.
Around the Horn is dead. R.I.P.
Around the Horn is dead. Yeah.
Next
I'm
month.
so glad you brought that up. Yeah. Dude, it broke my heart. That was like one of the few things I actually enjoyed watching on ESPN. Now it's just, and this is why you're starting to see so many content creators come out of the woodwork on YouTube, because they're more authentic. There's so much. If you have to listen to people like, I forget them. There's one moron. I forget. But you have to listen to people like Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman and Kendrick Perkins and Bomani Jones and all these people who just sit there and spout nothing but hot air. Yeah. And just, they'll spend more time talking about things that happen on Twitter than on the court or the football field or the baseball diamond. Yeah. And that's not even getting into hockey, which they just completely disrespect that sport too.
That's why John Boy Media blew up as much as it did.
Yes. I will say, Pat McAfee has saved ESPN.
Yeah.
He's the only thing that keeps ESPN from going completely under.
Yeah.
Because he gets great viewership, and his show is great.
Dude, the only things that get viewership is college football right now.
Yeah.
Do what?
The only thing that gets viewership on ESPN is college football right now.
Because they own it.
Yeah, well, well, unless you want to go to Fox Sports.
Honestly, Pat McAfee could walk away from his show whenever he wants and probably go out on his own and be perfectly fine.
Well, it's his show.
That's what he did.
The whole thing. That's how he started it.
Yeah.
That's how he started.
It's just him and his buddies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, he could go do WWE too, because he announces for that as well.
Literally,
He's one of the guys in the box for that.
It's frustrating for me, and I want to ask you two this. Have you felt yourself going away from the big sports networks? So I know another thing was we talked about we talked about the NBA, and one thing that's really stuck with me is bad coverage of the NBA, which TNT is kind of main highlight here with ESPN, with how bad they. Yeah, but they don't talk about the game, and they just listen. I know there's problems with basketball, but as someone who is just starting getting back into basketball, it's fun to watch. It's actually so much fun to watch the NBA.
I disagree.
I think it's really fun to watch.
They don't say
just
defense.
so much.
But I also
college
think
basketball.
That's a hard
college
argument
basketball,
to say.
I think, is more entertaining. They care more, and it means more to them. Even if it's just, regular season game. I think that it matters more to college basketball players than it does to NBA players.
I do agree with you on that, but I also think the talent pool is much worse in college basketball for obvious reasons. But the talent pool is incredibly worse. You have a lot more bad looks. You have 20 less minutes, or not 20, but you have 10, 11 minutes less.
Yeah, it's 8.
Which that's still a lot of time to put up even more points. And overall, it's just, I just think there's a bigger talent gap with the NBA versus college basketball. I mean, there's no coincidence that there's only 2 rounds of the NBA draft, where the NFL has 7, baseball has 20 or something like that. Or it might be even less now. I don't even remember how many rounds baseball has, and that's not even talking about international drafts. And hockey has about 7 or 8. I mean, you only have 64 players get drafted year in and year out. So I think the talent pool is some of the best to see right now than it's been in the last 20 years. But it's just, I think with bad coverage, it makes fans I'll just think the worst about basketball. Because baseball doesn't do it. Baseball's not all the old heads are going on and talk about how this game's bad every single day, even though that for a while baseball got talked about being a 3 true outcome sport when it started getting that way. The commentators never did that, but ESPN did. But it was just something I kind of thought about at the time because it was kind of racking my brain. So
Yeah, I got you.
yeah. It's just but I guess kind of to wrap it up, it's just I really cared about. I used to love being like watching ESPN, and I think it kind of breaks my heart knowing that the network I loved so much growing up has kind of devolved into this.
Yeah.
And I think it hurts baseball the most, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
But MLB
Because-
Network does a great job.
MLB Network has done a great job to pick
Yeah,
them
but
up.
now essentially it's locked behind needing to pay for it.
I mean, so is ESPN.
Well, but you mean it came with cable?
Not anymore. Maybe like base ESPN.
Yeah, that's what I mean. When you wanted to get sports news, you went to ESPN base. Now you have to pay for cable and extra stuff just to be able to get baseball news anymore. And I think that's a shame.
Well,
and,
all the local teams get. If you have cable, you get MLB Network now.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, you also get
But-
NBA TV
Oh, that's true.
I know you
forgot
get it
about
with
and
the direct
NHL TV. You get hockey, baseball, ESPN, and I think you also get NFL Network. I think all the major sports give you a sports network
that. Okay.
with most cables. I don't know if that's over the air cable, but like a lot of them will do that. Or it's like $10 more for like a sports package. Which isn't bad.
But,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I do agree. I think ESPN's become very more politically inclined more than it is sport inclined. If that makes
It's
sense.
just-
It
Yeah.
just takes away from the sports themselves when you do that.
It's about drama narratives
Yeah.
versus
Yeah.
the on-field product,
Yeah.
and that's a shame.
Yeah.
And it puts a hole in my heart because, you know, it sucks seeing that. This is what you grew up with. Like, ESPN was like the network I watched as a kid,
Right.
and now I need to go elsewhere to find it. And I give a lot of credit because there's so many people on YouTube and stuff who make content for baseball and basketball and football that feel real and authentic. You know what I mean, guys? So, yeah, that's just kind of where I feel with that. But is there anything else you guys wanted to say with that, or did I
I'm good.
put a bow on that?
I'm good. I thought that was pretty
Put a
good. We'll
bow
be
on it,
back
call it a
for
present.
more predictions next week.
Yeah.
Because apparently I'm pretty good at those. That's what I
No,
get.
you've
Are
been
you?
pretty good so far.
Oh. It
Nails.
was the first week. It's the first week.
Hey,
Don't
you
blow
know,
your head up too
you
much,
know.
bud.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. You know, it's a long
But-
season, but we're liking. I could be. At least my team didn't go 3-25. Start the year.
True.
Shout out Reds.
They will not be going 3-25.
Have they won 4 games yet?
No.
Then
But
there's still a chance.
they did win tonight, though. They stuffed the Rangers 14-3. So 2-2. They won't go 1-23. I hope. That would be really sad if it did. But as it currently stands, I'll wrap it up with this, giving a quick update of our standings. Mikey with the Blue Jays is 3-2. Zach with the A's is currently 2-2, but I think they're losing tonight. Yeah, 4-0. But it's only the third inning, so things can change. And it is the Cubs bullpen, so we'll see. But let's say right now they're 2-2. And then with the Reds right now with me, they are currently 2-2. So we'll keep you guys updated with that information, whether it's on Instagram or Twitter or when we do the updates with the show. So with that out of the way, thank you all for tuning in and either watching or listening. Y'all have been wonderful. And for everyone on Spotify or wherever else you're listening to, share it around. If you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And with that out of the way, I think we're going to get out of here for the night. And I hope you all have a great night.
Peace.